Yeah. Run it back, nation. What is good, my friends? It is your boy DJ Eastwood. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Lunchtime Live, all off season, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes Thursday at 12 noon. Speaking of frauds, in 2020, 49 million Americans were victims of identity theft, and it ended up costing them a combined $56 billion. 37 billion records got hacked. That means unless you want to give up the internet, preventing your personal information from leaking could be completely out of your control. That's why I'm excited to partner with Aura, who is sponsoring this video. Aura's app uses AI and machine learning to protect your identity online. Aura's app also features a VPN that encrypts your browsing history and allows you to stay anonymous online. Their antivirus software blocks malware and viruses before they infect your devices. Someone becomes a victim of identity fraud every 14 seconds. Don't be the next one. Let Aura do the hard work of protecting your identity for you. Go to aura.com/runitback. Link is in the description. You do everything online. You shop online. You invest online. You bet online. You do other things online that you probably don't want to tell people. But people are out there trying to steal your information, trying to steal your passwords, trying to hack into your bank account every day. There's no reason in 2022 to not have internet security. So go to aura.com/runitback and sign up for a 14-day free trial. Check it out for 14 days, man. Check it out. Go on there. Sign up for the trial. See if it's for you. That's all you got to do. Aura.com/runitback. Thanks for being here. One more thing. Only 30% of people that watch these shows are subscribed to the channel. That's fraudulent behavior, man. Hit the subscribe button if you tune in daily, man. Hit the subscribe button. Romp 2.0 says, check out Paul Reed's last retweet. Romp, what's up, man? How you doing today? Okay, I'll do that on the fly. Why not? Paul Reed on Twitter. Is it going to be something about Doc Rivers getting fired? Please tell me it is. Development is not just... Shots fired! Shots fired. Shots fired. All right, let's do it this way. I got my keyboard up here because I had this whole thing set up for a go over some draft picks, but we do have to check this out real quick. We do have to check this out because this is interesting. Thank you, Romp, for hitting me with that. Let's go right here over to Twitter. Paul Reed. Paul Reed. A tweet by Phil Beckner, in quotes, development is not just about the player. It is about the coach, too. Very hard to follow a leader who is not going anywhere. You can't give away what you don't possess. Paul Reed. That ain't it. Hold on. That's ice, bro. That's fake, bro. All right, hold on. Okay, here we go. I thought Paul Reed retweeted that stab at Doc Rivers. Okay. Oh, he did. I'm so confused. I'm losing my mind here. At first, I thought it was fake, and then I realized it's real. Paul Reed retweeted a quote by Phil Beckner. Development is not just about the player. It's about the coach, too. Very hard to follow a leader who is not going anywhere. You can't give away what you don't possess. Paul Reed retweeted. You can't see it because I got it cropped out, but that's Paul Reed. Paul Reed retweeted. So that's interesting. Thank you for that, Romp. Is that shots fired at Todd? That's clearly, I mean, who could he be talking about? Who would he be talking about? Wow. I can't even, I don't even know what to say to take that all in right now. The fact that Paul Reed would retweet something like that after he went through a whole season where he hardly got any playing time and then was forced into the fold, into the frame in the middle of the playoffs. And even when he had a good game, Doc Rivers came out and did the whole we're not going to go on a Paul Reed victory tour right now. Like he was angry that Doc Rivers or Doc Rivers was angry that Paul Reed had a successful game because that means everybody was right and he was wrong and he doesn't like to be wrong. Wow. Development is not just about the player, it's about the coach too. Very hard to follow a leader who is not going anywhere. You can't give away what you don't possess. I thought at the end of last season, Doc started to lose the team lose the locker room, as they say. But now you got young players calling you out on Twitter. Yeah. Wow. Was that yesterday? I haven't seen any articles written about it, or I didn't see anything about that. So, no, that was tweeted yesterday. Paul Reed retweeted it. I can't see a time on a retweet, but that's interesting, man. That's interesting. Thank you for that, Romp. Now, look, I want to go through 3 potential draft picks for the Philadelphia 76ers if they keep pick number 23. And if they keep pick 23 and don't trade it. Now, I just want to throw this out there before I get into this. This is for fun. I know what you're going to say in the chat. I know. None of this matters because Doc Rivers doesn't play young players. I know you're going to say that. I understand that. I do want to say this, though, about the young players that Doc Rivers refuses to play. If we're talking about Paul Reed, Charles Bassey, and Isaiah Joe, if you want a little bit of optimism to make yourself kind of maybe sort of 1%-ish believe that Doc Rivers would play a rookie out of this draft, those 3 players that we screamed the whole season for Doc Rivers not playing and not giving a chance and not developing were late second-round draft picks. So it could be that Doc Rivers is kind of hesitant or scared or whatever to play players or doesn't feel comfortable with guys who weren't like high-level NBA prospects at that young of an age. Maybe that's it. The players we're looking at number 23, obviously, are first-round draft picks, first-round talent, first-round potential, had all of the high school intangibles here and there, had all of some of the accolades, some of the McDonald's All-American games, on and on and on. So these guys in the first round are at least higher prospects than the players that we were screaming for Doc Rivers to give some playing time last season. I'm not saying they didn't deserve it, but maybe Doc Rivers has a hesitancy to play guys that came out of the second round. Jaden Springer's just not good, Alex. That is what it is. The last time we drafted a player in the first round outside of Tyrese Maxey who actually contributed, I'm pretty sure, was Landry Shamet in 2018. If you really want me to kill your spirit real quick, the 2016 draft that Sam Hinkie had set up perfectly with 3 first-round picks, the Philadelphia 76ers selections were Ben Simmons, Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot, and our own favorite Furkan Korkmaz. So that was an entire first round with 3 draft picks, and all 3 of them either quit, didn't live up to their potential, or just aren't good at all. So TLC, Furkan, I know it really hurts my brain still to think about the fact that Furkan Korkmaz and TLC were first-round draft picks, but you throw Ben Simmons and that debacle into that fold. 2016 was terrible. 2018, Landry Shamet. Jaden Springer was a Daryl Morey draft pick, right? And that was Tyrese Maxey. Was that the same draft as the Maxey draft? Was that later? Was that the year after? That was the same draft as the Matisse Thybulle draft where we traded Carson Edwards off the top of my head. Either way, we haven't done good drafting, but I just wanted to kind of paint a picture that first-round talent at least are better prospects than the players that we were screaming for Doc Rivers to play last season that he refused to play. So just maybe if you draft one of these kids at 23, Doc Rivers would be more comfortable and might throw them into the fold. And I honestly think some of them would fit perfectly on the Sixers. I don't know about starting, but off the bench as a rookie. And when you really talk about what the Sixers' main need is, or the most obvious need is the wing position, small forward, if you will, if you're calling it positionless. I guess you just call it the wing position. But last year, what did we do? We switched, we up in the air, hand juggled with a blindfold over our eyes. Matisse Thybulle, Danny Green, and Furkan Korkmaz. So I would say when you're looking at the starting lineup with James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, I don't know if Tobias Harris is still here next year, but that 3 position or the wing position, whatever you want to call it, is a massive hole in the starting lineup for the 76ers. And, or some of these players could just contribute as a wing player in a staggered lineup. I think some of them would fit perfectly next to Joel Embiid and James Harden, maybe coming off the bench in a staggered lineup where, certain starters aren't back yet and things like that. If Doc Rivers staggers the bench. Big ifs on everything, but this is just for fun. It's the offseason. Let's look at some rookies, man. Let's talk about them. Number one that I have for me personally, after just, spending a couple hours looking at tape, looking at draft boards, mock drafts, etc., players that could fall to the number 23 spot. E.J. Liddell out of Ohio State. I don't know if I said that right. I haven't heard anyone. I haven't listened or heard anyone on a podcast or on TV talk about draft picks, and I don't really watch Ohio State college basketball too much. But I think it's E.J. Liddell, and I like him. I like E.J. Liddell, and I'm going to go over his draft profile from NBADraft.net really quick, and we'll play some fun little tape on the screen there for you guys to check him out. From NBADraft.net, so they rank players in categories. On the top of the page, they have athleticism, size, defense, strength, on and on and on, ranked from 1 to 10. So E.J. Liddell, they have athleticism at a 7, size at a 7, defense at a 8, strength at a 8, quickness at a 7, leadership at a 8. I don't know how you really rank leadership. Oh, thanks for the suggested video. That's so nice. Cover up my... Come on! Jump shot at a 7, NBA ready at an 8. We know that doesn't matter because because Charles Bassey, I think, was a 9 when he was drafted, and I'm pretty sure Isaiah Joe was pretty high up there in NBA ready category that Doc Rivers totally ignored. Rebounding at an 8. God knows we need some of that on the squad. Potential 6 post skills at an 8 and intangibles at an 8. And let's just go over some strengths and weaknesses real quick. E.J. Liddell is a wide-bodied 6'7", 235-pound power forward with good length, 7-foot wingspan at the 2021 Combine, and physical strength, and he knows how to use his frame well to seal off players. Had a very productive college career on both ends of the court, and a big reason why is because he's a cerebral player with excellent anticipation skills and the floor awareness that allows him to establish positioning and beat players to their spots. A key for front court guys who may lack great height. Unselfish player with good floor vision, made defenders pay numerous times with good kick-out passes to open teammates when the defense collapsed on him in the post. Plays with a high motor. Lord knows we need some of that. Is a tough player who will seek out contact. We need some of that. Got to the foul line at a good rate the past 2 seasons and is solid for his position when he's at the foul line. 75% free throw shooting. Also showed improved conditioning as a junior, playing nearly 5 more minutes per game than the previous season, and visibly adding more mobility and quickness after slimming down. So he's shown progress from year to year, which means, get to the NBA, maybe 1, 2, 3 years of development, or maybe even less than that, and he could, maybe he's a solid NBA player. Likes to use his right-hand floaters and jump hooks from the 10-foot area. Often played as a center by necessity at Ohio State throughout his career. Could potentially steal minutes in a small lineup at that spot in the NBA. I don't know about 6'7" at the center position unless, Draymond Green really is the only one that comes to mind that is successful at playing small ball center. I really think trying to model yourself after the Golden State Warriors never seems to really work out too well. Made nice strides in his spot up and pick and pop perimeter shooting over his career after starting as mostly a back-to-the-basket low-post player. An overachiever type who gets the most out of himself. His ability to improve and expand his game to better suit himself for an NBA role each year speaks to a player who not just works hard, but is smart. That makes me happy also. Overall, Liddell is coming off a first-team All-Big Ten season as a junior where he led Ohio State in scoring with just over 19 points per game and anchored their pretty tough defense. He has always been a sturdy body post player, but his steadily improving skill level has pushed his NBA draft stock as high as it's been in his career. And he showed the ability to post and score, step out, and hit from the perimeter, as well as being a facilitating valve for the Buckeyes offense when defenses become more of an undersized front court player. It's worth noting that his lack of height is alleviated somewhat by the floor spacing in smaller lineups NBA teams frequently use, too, in the mode of Marcus Morris type if he lands in the right situation. He's projected as a late first-round pick and has boosted his stock and improved on the main areas that the draft advisory spoke to him after polishing up his NBA Combine debut after his sophomore season last summer. 80 people in here, man. Hit the like button. Thanks for being here. Notes on E.J. Liddell. Measured at 6'5" and 5.5", barefoot, 6'7" in shoes, 8' 10" standing reach, 242.8 pounds. Listen, 6'7", 240 is a big body, a big frame, and you talk about, especially players off the bench or, role players. The 76ers need guys with size, need guys with high motors, need guys that can rebound, that are going to chase down loose balls, that are going to outwork and out-hustle the other team. We really got beat this playoffs, 100% out-hustled on the boards, on loose balls. The lack of effort was glaring to the point where Doc Rivers was asking players to show effort in a round 2 of the NBA playoffs, which is embarrassing. Some stats for E.J. Liddell, his last season in college. He averaged 19.4 points per game. He averaged 5.7 rebounds per game, and he shot 37% from the three-point line. So I think, at 6'7", he might be more of a small forward in the NBA than a power forward / center. And at the same time, being 240 and being, having the movement of a power forward center, he might struggle with his speed playing the small forward position. Maybe in a small ball lineup he plays a power forward. Maybe he could fit as a nice stretch 4 next to Joel Embiid. But look, I like his jump shot form. He shot good percentages his senior year at Ohio State or his junior year. That's E.J. Liddell, man. Some notes that I took myself. He looks very strong and imposes his will in the paint. His jumper looks smooth. Three-point stroke looks smooth. Doesn't shoot like a quote-unquote big man. Seems like a small forward, power forward hybrid to me. Has a post-game turnaround fade, up and under, good touch around the rim. Is a good shot blocker for his size. He averaged 2.4 blocks per game his last season at Ohio State at only 6'7". That's pretty impressive. If you're averaging 2.6 blocks per game, he averaged his last season at Ohio State. If you're averaging 2.6 blocks per game at 6'7", it's college basketball. I get that. It's lesser competition, so you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But that's a pretty impressive number at that height, and that just tells me he has good anticipation, reads the ball well, and hustles. He would fit much better with the Sixers as a rebounding, shot-blocking stretch 4 than, say, Tobias Harris. Hot take, Eastwood. I'm not afraid to say that. I don't really think Tobias Harris is a great fit next to Joel Embiid on the Sixers. I think we've tried it enough. And, of course, with Tobias Harris, it's not just about what I think about his fit. It's about, the contract and the fact that you want to do things this off season, so you got to move Tobias Harris anyway. Speed Demon in the chat says he will never play. Doesn't matter. As I opened up this stream with, this is all for fun. I don't know if Doc Rivers would play these guys, but I think he might be inclined more to play first-round talent than he was inclined to play Paul Reed, Charles Bassey, Isaiah Joe, who were late second-round talents. So it might be possible that Doc Rivers would be interested in playing some of these guys. But, you just have to see. Now we got Paul Reed calling out Doc Rivers on Twitter. Maybe he's losing the locker room. Maybe everyone hates him. I think everyone hates him. Maybe they get rid of him before the season starts. I would like for that to be sooner than later. But, I think he might be inclined to play some first-round talent versus the guys that we were screaming about last season. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. The second player I have is Tari Eason out of LSU, and I've heard a couple people now say this kid's name. And, man, when you talk about the Sixers' lack of length and athleticism, just take a good look at this kid if you haven't already. Tari Eason's draft profile from NBADraft.net. He's ranked at an 8 with athleticism, an 8 with size, a 9 when it comes to defense. And I don't know if he's going to fall to pick number 23. I don't know. Who knows, man? An 8 for strength, an 8 for quickness, an 8 for jump shot, which is impressive for a guy that strives on length and athleticism. A lot of guys, and this is the new age of basketball players. It's, the more kids learn at a young age the fundamentals of the game and good coaching coming up, and they learn how to shoot a ball properly, you get these kids that are massive, very long, and have just a really nice stroke when it comes to a jump shot. And this kid has it, man. And he looks like a very good NBA prospect. A lot of mocks have him falling down to 23. I don't know why he would fall that far. Good. But if he does, Sixers, you couldn't pass this one up. If he falls to 23, you got to take him. You absolutely have to take Tari Eason if he falls to 23. Just length, size, has some ball handling for his size, has some passing ability. But really for me, it's that jump shot that stands out because he's going to be a shot blocker. He's going to be a big-time finisher at the rim. But a guy that size that can shoot the ball the way that he does, man, he could be a perfect new age, prototypical stretch four in the NBA. And his NBA comparison, according to NBADraft.net, is Marcus Morris. So, there's that. We always say, hey, we need a Morris twin. Maybe you don't get a 33-year-old Morris twin. Maybe you get a 21-year-old Tari Eason out of LSU. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what you do. Daniel Hilt, thank you for the super chat, my man. You should look up Justin Lewis. I think he's good. Hey, we'll do another couple of these streams headed toward the NBA draft in a couple weeks. So, maybe I'll throw in Justin Lewis. I don't think I've searched or read anything about him yet. So thanks for that suggestion. Tari Eason's strengths, according to NBADraft.net. Versatile, athletic forward that can play either forward spot and can guard up to 3 positions at the next level. A standout on the defensive end. Can really be disruptive defensively by blocking shots and grabbing steals. Excellent anticipation, reflexes to make steals. Instinctual player that can wreak havoc in passing lanes. Natural scorer, putting up 17 points per game. In just 24 minutes per game. Has good footwork on drives to the basket that allows him to react on how defenders are guarding him and still create space to get his shot off. I think he does the same thing defensively. I think he's really good at, ball tracking and blocking shots without fouling. A lot of young guys, especially guys that are on the Sixers squad, have fouling issues when it comes to playing defense. I think this kid's good at getting his body out of the way and still getting hands on basketballs. Creates contact on his drives to the rim, drawing fouls at a high rate, and converts on these opportunities. Shooting 80% from the free throw line. This kid seems like he has it all, man. He even shoots 80% from the free throw line. I don't think you can pass up on Tari Eason, man. What does he wear? 6'8", 217. So he's not like a massive body or anything, but 6'8", 217. As long as he's a competent shooter, I think he can play stretch 4 in the NBA at a pretty good clip. And he shoots 30. He shot 36% from 3. His 1 season at LSU, 2 seasons at LSU, sophomore season, he shot 36% from 3, averaged 17 points per game, and averaged 7 rebounds per game. Coming from an undisciplined LSU program, it's hard. Undisciplined LSU program? Well, that's fair enough. I guess the last person I really watched play at LSU was Ben Simmons, and we know that they didn't care what he did at all. They let him get away with murder. They even let him just show up to the campus and sign autographs and leave. Dude never even went to class, so I get that. Undisciplined LSU program. It's hard to know how much better, how different his game would be with more structure and coaching. So, yeah, it's a good way to look at it. Maybe the fact that he looks like this and he might have questionable coaching and development programs and things at LSU. He might even become an NBA star one day with some NBA coaching and development teams. And, don't even go there with me on the Sixers coaching and development teams. But it is what it is when you look at the Sixers and how we develop players. But I think this kid's good, and I think if he falls to 23, you have to take him. He's a highlight dunker. That's fun. I'm always game for a windmill or two. He uses his length as a defender in the paint on the perimeter. Seems to be able to dribble into a pull-up jump shot for his size. That's interesting, too, because he might develop and end up being able to actually create his own shot, take an NBA player one-on-one versus just catching and shooting wide-open threes as a stretch 4. So I think that kid has a lot of potential. And I think if he falls to 23, man, you would just have to take him. I think I'm going to highly doubt that he falls to 23, but you never know. Tyrese now at LSU. That's my second one that I have for potential Sixers draft picks if we keep the pick at 23. Now, knowing the Sixers, they probably draft a kid like this who could possibly be a perfect fit, and they trade him. Then, if we air quotes trade the pick, which would be us drafting a player and trading him in a package, the Sixers would probably do this. They would probably draft him, trade him in a package with Tobias Harris or whoever else, and he would become an NBA superstar, and we would be talking in 5 years about how we traded Tari Eason on draft night. It's just what happens in Philly, the black cloud over this damn town. But there's me being negative again. I'm trying to be positive in this video and have some fun, man. John Gotti, what's up, man? He says, do a whole show title. Are we finally done with Shake Milton and Cork Moss? That's the thing, man. How, other teams get players like this in a draft, and other teams have players coming off their bench that are at least competent NBA players. And how many years do we end up relying on minutes from Furkan Korkmaz and Shake Milton and, whoever else, man? Year after year after year, it's embarrassing. TLC and on and on and on. So, maybe the Sixers actually get someone out of a draft that can contribute. Martin Lynch says players we passed up on includes Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Grant Williams. No, we passed up on Grant Williams. We didn't pass up on Tatum. I explain this almost every day on YouTube. Markelle Fultz was the unanimous number 1 pick in that draft. Anyone that was around and was really paying attention in 2016-17 when that college season was going on, Markelle Fultz was lights out. He looked like the next Kyrie Irving. He was shooting 41% from 3. He was a 3-level scorer. He was averaging 31 points per game. He's 6'5". He looked like an insane NBA talent. And he was going number 1, period. The Celtics had the number 1 pick. They said, "Hey, we love Fultz, but we have Isaiah Thomas, who just came off an MVP level season. We don't need a point guard. We'll you guys, we'll let you guys move up to number 1 and take Fultz, and we'll take Tatum at number 3." It wasn't gonna happen. We didn't have a chance unless we agreed to that and said, "Hey, we'll do that. We'll make the trade. We'll take Fultz at number 1," and then somebody in the organization had some kind of insane basketball knowledge and said, "Psych, we're taking Tatum at 3." That would have been, first of all, a slimy move when it comes to NBA business. But it just wasn't possible. Fultz was number one. We traded up to take him at number one. Tatum was number three. If we didn't make the trade with the Celtics, they take Tatum at number one. They wanted Tatum. That's what it was. So when you really look at, we drafted Fultz over Tatum. If you look at the draft board, that's not how it went down. The Celtics were taking Tatum at 1 or 3, whichever way they wanted him, they were getting him. We traded up to take Markelle Fultz. Everybody, most scouts in the NBA had Fultz going number 1. So I don't ever think that we passed up on Tatum. And people weren't like talking about Tatum like nobody knew he was going to be an NBA superstar. He wasn't even the number 1 option on that Duke team. He looked like a good NBA prospect, but it wasn't. You can go back in time and say that about really anyone. The Sixers missed a lot of draft picks, but that one in particular was Markelle Fultz number 1 overall. It really was. What really hurts is we drafted Furkan, and right after him, the Raptors drafted Siakam. Yeah, Furkan Korkmaz was a horrendous draft pick. I don't disagree with you on that one. And Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot actually even went higher in that draft than Furkan Korkmaz did, which was just unbelievable. But yeah, my number 3, and I've been wanting to talk about him for a minute on here, is Wendell Moore Jr. Me and Romp, and what's up, Romp, still in the chat, and me and Romp and Greg gave quick opinions on Wendell Moore Jr., but I'm just going to go over his draft profile real quick. Wendell Moore Jr. out of Duke. Let me get this situated right here. Boom. His NBA comparison, according to NBADraft.net, is Bruce Brown. And I think that's realistic, especially maybe as a rookie. Even the Nets found a player who became a solid role player in Bruce Brown. So, maybe you draft a kid like this and he becomes at least a Bruce Brown for us his rookie season if Doc Rivers plays him. But I think this kid has all the intangibles. If he falls to 23, it's another player that if he falls to 23, I would be a little bit shocked because he just kind of looks like an NBA level player to me. He is only 6'5". Like I get some Jason Tatum vibes when I really watch him. I think that might just be him playing for Duke and playing the way that he plays. Jason Tatum's obviously 3 inches taller, so that might be why he would fall in the draft at maybe NBA small forward position. 6'5" is a little bit undersized for today's standards, but I'm a big fan of Wendell Moore Jr. His strengths, according to NBADraft.net, well, his rankings, his athleticism, they have an 8. His size, they have an 8. His defense, they have an 8. His strength, they have a 7. Quickness, 8. Leadership, 7. Jump shot, 8. NBA ready, 8. Ball handling, 8. Potential, they have at a 7. His passing is an 8. And his intangibles, they have at a 7 also. But he just looks like he could score on 3 levels. He has a nice little Euro step finish around the rim, at least against college competition. Now, of course, when you look at his size and you try to gauge how fast he's actually moving, it's a different world when you're playing against NBA defenses, NBA defenders, bigger, stronger, taller, faster, things like that. So it's always up in the air, especially when you're drafting any point in the draft outside of the lottery, outside of number 1 overall, and even that's not guaranteed as, the Pelicans took Zion over Ja Morant. But I like this kid, man, and I think he would fit nice on the Sixers off the bench as a rookie. Maybe, you look at it like, would drafting a kid like this improve our bench and our supporting unit? And I think you have to say yes because they were absolutely atrocious. His strengths, according to NBADraft.net, a skilled and physical slasher with terrific playmaking skills, can play from the wing or at the point and run the offense from both locations. Improved dramatically as a shooter this season, making him a legit threat to play on and off the ball on offense. Started as a 21% three-point shooter and improved by 10% in both his sophomore and junior seasons. So freshman, he shot 21% from 3, and as a junior, he shot 41% from 3. What does that tell you? Does that give you Tyrese Maxey vibes? That tells you this kid puts in the work. He said, hey, I can't be a 21% three-point shooter. I got to go do some work in the offseason. And he went 10% up the next season, 10% up the next season. So quite possibly he could be a 40% three-point shooter in the NBA and, give you a nice option off the bench who can consistently shoot and who has the size to hold his own against NBA talent. That's the problem with a guy like Furkan Korkmaz and even a guy like Isaiah Joe at just 6'4", 170 pounds. He's not big enough and strong enough. Those guys aren't big enough and strong enough to hold their own when it comes to NBA defenses. Like when you watch Furkan Korkmaz highlights in Turkey, okay, he was playing against who? You know what I mean? He was playing against guys that can't sniff the NBA. So, and Isaiah Joe, as much as I think he's a sniper, he struggles to get open. He struggles to make things happen when he does get NBA minutes because he's 6'4", $170. So you get a player off the bench that's 6'5", what was his weight, 2-something? I forget. But I just think, maybe he could potentially hold his own a little better against NBA defenders and contribute a little bit better. And at number 23, if he's there, and Tari Eason's already off the board, then, I think the Sixers have to say yes to Wendell Moore Jr. out of Duke. And then I think the Sixers front office or anybody above Doc Rivers has to say, Doc, play the kid. Play the kid. Daryl Morey has to say, Doc, I'm drafting these kids and you're not playing them. Or they just got to fire him, man. Notes, he measured 6'10.5 wingspan and 8 feet 5 inches standing reach early in his playing career. He was a 2022 second-team All-ACC. What's up? What?
I heard your name.
Give me 15 minutes. Go downstairs. Almost made it a full show without the interruption from the 7-year-old, but here we are. San8 says Zion is better than Ja Morant. Okay, bro. What'd you have for breakfast? A bowl of cocaine? Yeah, so look, at pick number 23, if the Sixers aren't going to trade it, which, a lot of people hit my comments and say things like, I'm tired of us trying to win with trades. I'm tired of us, capping out, giving up all of our draft picks, mortgaging the future. It is getting to the point, I'm not going to lie, where I start to almost feel the same way. I start to feel like, how many years are we going to try? How many years are we going to be in win now mode? But as long as Joel Embiid's in his prime and now you have 33-year-old James Harden, you kind of have to be in win now mode. You kind of have to be. You kind of have to be. You're capped out. Your players are either in their prime or edging past their prime. James Harden, you kind of have to be in win now mode. But if they do keep the pick at 23, I would like it. Did they knock me down? Did YouTube knock me down? Are we back? 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 I'm not seeing anything. Oh, is that what it was? Is that what it was? I said the word. Is that what it was? Am I back up? There's no way they actually blocked me for that, right? Is that why I got knocked? Because of the bowl of C-word comment? There's no way. There's no way. Man, I got to watch my mouth on YouTube, man. Are we still down? Am I back up? Oh, something went wrong, it says. Bot's still here. Am I back? Free DJs, what people are saying in the chat. Are we back on the air? Hey, we're back. I don't have a copyright notification, so I really think it had to be the bowl of I really think it had to be the fact that I said, "What'd you have for breakfast?" A bowl of white girl powdery stuff. I gotta use code names. It's like talking with the feds watching. You gotta use code names. Hey, what'd you have for breakfast, man? A bowl of flour, a bowl of white sugary looking stuff. YouTube's algorithm probably catches drug references pretty quickly. I should have known that, so that's dumb on my part. But anyway, sugar booger, speed demon, nice, bro. Yeah. Right when that came out of my mouth, I kind of said in my head, like, shit, I shouldn't have said that. But saying 8, y'all forget Zion averaged 27 on 61% in his second year. Of course he did. I mean, you could say you could say Greg Oden's the best center of all time. Is he on the floor? Is Zion on the floor? Can he get on the floor? That's the question. You know, you're telling me you wouldn't have John Morant, you wouldn't take John Morant over Zion at this point in like a redraft? Yes, you would. Yes, you would. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go back in the stream and delete that part of the video before the feds raid my house because YouTube is insane. But anyway, if the Sixers keep the pick at 23, there's 3 players that I like. There's 3 players that I think they should consider. 3 players that I think could actually have an impact on the NBA floor as a rookie giant if, Doc Rivers would play them. You know how it is, man. Anyway, I've almost been up here for an hour anyway. YouTube kind of killed the vibe and killed my momentum, and now I don't want to give them any more of my time. Fuck you, YouTube. No, I'm kidding. Don't knock me down for that, too. All right, guys, thanks for coming through. Hit the like button, please. That would help me out greatly. 65 people in here. Give me 65 likes on the stream so far. Share the content, man. Share the link to the streams and the videos on your social medias and other things like that. If you really want to spread the word, then show love to your boy. Tune in. I don't think I'll be here tomorrow at noon, but might have some videos up over the weekend. But if not, Monday at 12, we're back, lunchtime live, and we'll get closer to the draft. Maybe some things happen. Maybe some things go down. And don't forget, you do everything on the internet. Don't be a victim of identity fraud. Don't lose all your stuff to some scam artist fraud out there. They're watching you. They're watching your activity as closely as YouTube is watching what I say. So go to aura.com/runitback. Sign up for a 14-day free trial. Protect yourself on the internet, man. You don't want to not have internet security and all of a sudden one day wake up and your bank account looks like my stream a couple of seconds ago. All right, man. You guys have a good day, man. I'll talk to you soon. Run It Back Nation, thank you for being here. Peace.